A very, a very warm welcome to one and all present here. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to each and every individual present here in this meeting for being so cooperative and enthusiastic throughout the course, which is why it has turned out to be a successful one. We have finally arrived at the last day of our week-long certificate course, Unifying Body and Mind Through Yoga. That included various speaker sessions, yoga sessions by experts, and early morning relaxing and journaling sessions using 20-20-20 formula to inculcate the practice of yoga and meditation in our daily lives and reap the benefits of the same. We understand that the relevance of yoga during these tough pandemic times has increased substantially. This public health crisis has brought to the forefront the importance of strengthening our immune systems. For this, we need to adopt a healthy lifestyle with the goal to make everyone's life better and healthier. We started this certificate course that received a maximum participation of more than 200 individuals and was a great success throughout. Before we begin our today's session, I would like to present before you the brochure of the entire program, followed by a few glimpses of how these past 6 days have turned out for us and how the audience has responded to our certificate course, how this learning process has been throughout during the past 6 days. I now request Apurva to please share the screen. Presenting before you is the brochure of our course, beautifully made by our NSS volunteers and NCC cadets. We wholeheartedly thank our acting principal, Ma'am Vijaya Lakshmi Nanda, our wonderful coordinators, Dr. Rekha Kumari, the NSS program officer, and Dr. Archana Kushwaha, the NCC caretaker officer, for their constant support, for their guidance throughout the course, and for giving us this wonderful opportunity in the first place to conduct this yoga certificate course. We now present to you a few glimpses of the entire certificate course.
Nice.
Thank you, ma'am. We also have one more video to show exactly how these 6 days have panned out for us. Apurva, please. Thank you so much, ma'am. With this, we have now come to the end of our certificate program, that is the day 7, starting today, of course, ending today as well. The topic for today's discussion is Patanjali's Ashtangik Yoga Marg by Professor Balaganapathi Devarakonda. So we are more than honored to have you today with us. Over to
Namaste,
Silky.
sir, and welcome to this course. And we formally welcome you. And who is introducing him now?
Yes, ma'am. Over to Silky, please.
Before we begin the session, I would also like to request NCC Caretaker Officer Dr. Archana Kushwaha ma'am to speak a few words.
Thank you. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the 7th and the last day of this week-long course on unifying body and mind through yoga. It is an honor for us to have with us Professor Balaganapathi Devarakonda as a guest speaker for today's session. I extend a very warm welcome to you, sir. Thank you so much for coming. In the last 6 days, we have looked at various aspects of yoga, including the various asanas, the postures, pranayam, and the meditation or the dhyan aspect. Along with this, we also had session on diet for a healthy body and mind. One thing that we have learned is that, yoga has innumerable, in so many ways, yoga empowers the body and the mind and our soul. And another thing which I think is very important is that yoga goes beyond just a certain, exercise or certain, beyond meditation. It is a way of life. And if practiced regularly, it not only, helps in balancing the body and mind for wholesome living, it also helps combat stress, which has gripped us in this pandemic time. So today's session, I feel, is going to be a very apt culmination of this 7-day long course. And once again, we are very grateful to Professor Devarakonda for agreeing to address us today. Thank you so much for coming, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Before we begin, I would like to request the participants to keep their cameras on in order to make this session more interactive. Please take note that we will be circulating the attendance form during the session, which will be open only for a window of 20 minutes. So please fill it shortly. The floor will be open for questions after the session. So kindly drop your questions in the chat box. Now, I would like to request NCC Program Officer, Dr. Rekha Kumari ma'am, to speak a few words.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I also want to just extend my warm welcome to sir and looking forward to his session. And of course, this whole week of this course has made us understand the importance of yoga and its its contribution to our life to keep us in a healthy to live a healthy lifestyle. So I will not speak much because the sessions are speaking themselves, and I'm very happy to see that the participants are very enthusiastic. They ask a lot of questions, and I'm sure they are also getting their answers, and they are happy for the answers. And at the end of this course, we all will be, I think we people who were not practicing yoga earlier will start definitely after learning so much from this course. Thank you so much, and welcome, sir.
Thank you, ma'am. Before we begin, I would also like to introduce the speaker for the session, Dr. Balaganapathi Devarakonda, Head of the Department of Philosophy, University of Delhi. He is well known for his specialization in social and political philosophy, historiography of Indian philosophy, and philosophy of religion and human rights. He has authored several books, namely Social and Political Philosophers of Modern Andhra, Dravidian Language and Culture, and Globalization, Multiculturalism, and International Order. He is also a life member of Indian Philosophical Congress, International Society for Philosophers, and an associate member with the Council for Research in Values and Philosophy. His work in the fields of academia is doing wonders. With an undying passion to help people become fitter and better, he is also an inspiration to many young professionals. It is an honor to have you with us, sir. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you so much, Silky, for that wonderful introduction. Namaste. Good morning to all of you friends. Um, Professor Nanda, who is a very good friend of mine, and Dr. Rekha Kumari and Dr. Archana, student friends Amita, Nidhi, Apurva, Silky, and other friends who have joined us today, and the participants of this program. In fact, yeah, there is a small correction. I am not the head of the department presently. I was till last week, so somebody else has assumed as head of the department. So please make note of this change that happened in the recent past. Okay. But otherwise, I express my sincere gratitude to all the people who are involved in the organizing team for inviting me to this wonderful valedictory. That's what I was told, the end of the session, end of the course. I sincerely congratulate NSS and NCC teams of Miranda House for organizing this 7-day certificate program, with the title Unifying Body and Mind with Yoga. So they have actually captured the essence of what yoga, Patanjali yoga, is trying to tell us with this title, Unifying Body and Mind with Yoga. And as I understand, I am addressing the undergraduate students. So I'll try to, and also I understand that I am addressing diverse groups. It's not that students are all of them are philosophy students. So I try to keep it as simple as possible and as like relatable as possible to the contemporary times and also to you by simplifying things. That's what I would try to do in this 40 minutes time that is given to me. Right, friends? So let me go forward now. Now the question that comes forward whenever you have such kind of a session is, what is yoga? And we assume that all of us know what is yoga. Nobody needs to tell us now, right? And at least after 6 days of listening to many lectures and also practical sessions, by now you have some idea of what is yoga, right? So nobody needs to tell you now what is yoga. Do you agree with me? Yes or no? Yeah. So if we assume that we know something about yoga, and we also know that yoga is even beyond this 6 days program, yoga is quite popular around the world. Okay, not just in India. It has become quite popular around the world, and there are many kinds of practitioners, not one variety of practitioners. There are hundreds varieties of practitioners. Varieties, I'm saying, not hundreds of practitioners, hundreds varieties of practitioners that we have in the contemporary world. So looking at this diversity that is existent around the world and the diverse perspectives of yoga that are existent in the world, now we as the students of yoga course in which all of you have enrolled, it is our duty also to understand, well, how do I look at this diversity and plurality and division, that I see of yoga. So that is what I initially try to address and then take you to Patanjali Yoga Sutra, because Patanjali Yoga Sutra tries to give an answer to that. Okay, so let me begin with that. So this popularizing, when we look at this popularizing notions of yoga, as a teacher of philosophy, sometimes it looks to be very amusing to me, and sometimes it looks to be very shocking as well. And also, when I look at them as packaged global products, it really hurts me as well. Okay. It is amusing because people try to come out with various varieties of yoga. For example, somebody recently came out with Hasi yoga. So they started talking about the humor and developing the humor and narrating the humorous stories and incidents and encouraging people to laugh and calling it as humor yoga or hasi yoga. Okay, so this is amusing. But there are certain things which are shocking as well, because recently I have come across certain things where people talked about something called dancing yoga. Okay, and I had also come across beer yoga. Okay, so they were asking them to do the asanas, and while doing the asanas they were encouraging people to drink beer. Okay, so this is really shocking to me. Okay, and we see, Now there are many yoga experts that you come across in social media and Facebook around the world, around the internet. Let me call it not the world, but around the internet, who come forward and say that, yeah, I can make you master in 20 minutes, okay, or 10 minutes yoga. So basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to package it in such a way that we are all fond of fast foods, right? So we don't want anything that you have to practice for a long time. You want something that comes to you quickly. So since this fascination of ours towards the fast food has understood by the market so well, so market comes out with the solutions of 20 minutes yoga, 20 minutes this, 20 minutes that, right? So this kind of global marketing or packaging yoga into different segregated parts and offering it to the people has become a common phenomena as well. So that is how I find it amusing, I find it shocking, and also I find when I see it as a marketing commodity hurting as well. But and some people specialize only in pranayama. They say that yeah, you do only pranayama, that is enough. And some people say that no, you do asanas, okay, yoga asanas, yogic postures that all of you have learned. So that is enough. And some people also try to reduce it to one or two different aspects of either breathing or the physical postures. And this is a kind of reductionism. Okay, why I say reductionism is you are reducing the whole of yoga into one aspect of it and saying that this is the yoga. So this kind of reductionism is not so good. Okay, it sometimes serves the purpose, but it is not the totality that we have to understand. That is the most important thing that we have to know when we look at the diversity of yoga perspectives on yoga that we see around the world. Okay, friends, all of you or some of you might have come across or got into yoga only now. Now, on the seventh day, when you're going back home, okay, when you're memorizing all these things and going back to your regular routine, please keep it in your mind that only concentrating on one aspect will not make you a practitioner of yoga or a person who understands yoga well. For example, just let me give you an example. You wanted to drive a car, and obviously you join a driving school, right? Or your parents would teach you, and you would say that no, see, for me, I don't have to learn everything. If I can learn how to use accelerator and brake, because these are the ones which take me forward and which help me to stop. So if I say it is enough if I learn how to use brake and accelerator, I don't have to take care of anything else. I don't have to know about the steering wheel. Okay, because my purpose is to go forward, and whenever it is required, stop. So if I go with such kind of an attitude, is it really going to help me in driving the car? Similar is the problem with going with only one aspect of yoga and going with that thinking that that is the whole thing. Okay, so this problem, friends, we have in the with regard to the whole of classical traditional Indian knowledge system. Okay, because there is a reason. The reason is initially when Westerners looked at Indian knowledge system, they said you don't have knowledge system at all. Okay, so our you don't have knowledge system because it is not useful to the empirical world. This is how Westerners have criticized Indian knowledge system. This created a problem to the Indian scholars. They said, no, our knowledge system, we have knowledge system and it is useful to this empirical life as well. And they came out with short, breaking the knowledge system into various parts and showing that it is relevant to the empirical life. So that has created a problem. In fact, we ourselves have presented our knowledge system in a segregated, segregated and in a partial way. So the problem lies with us as well. Okay, that's what I want to stress here. But what is required is holistic conception. Holistic conception of knowledge system is what is very important for us, and that's what we should look at. And even if you look at Patanjali Yoga Sutra, it tries to provide a holistic conception of whatever you may call happy life or good life. Because all of us, whether you are a commerce student, whether you are a person from the business or from education or from administrative service, whatever it may be, what is it at the end of the day all of us look for? A happy life, a good life, right? So if you're looking for happy life, good life, and peaceful life, then you have to have a holistic conception of life. It is not enough if you think that I just need to have money, that is enough, it will give me happiness. No, it will never give you happiness. Okay, you should have a holistic conception of life and holistic conception of your own self. Only then you can have a happy life and good life, which would be a peaceful life, right? So, say for example, in these segregated conceptions that we have of yoga, tell us that. See, I'll ask you one thing, friends. You want to get into your home. How do you get into your home? You get into your home through your main door, right? And then main door opens into a particular room, and then you get into another room, and that's how you reach your bedroom, right? Say, for example, you want to get into bedroom directly. Can you do that? Similarly, Ashtanga Yoga gives us 7 ladders, 7 steps. Okay, it says you have to go step by step, and that is how you reach the next step. Okay, next level. So, if for example, if you say that no, I directly want to know the asanas, or I directly want to go to the meditation, or I directly want to practice pranayama, is it possible? So this is what you have to understand, because all the 8 steps are equally important, and each of these 8 steps have a significant place that they play in understanding the individual to himself. Okay, so that is what I want to stress with regard to the misconceptions or reduced understanding, reductionist approach of yoga that we have in these contemporary times. Having said that, let me take you directly to Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Though this text is so popular in the recent past, not many people completely get into the text and try to read it. The text has the title says it's a Yoga Sutra. So what do we mean by yoga? Yoga has different meanings and different definitions in various classical Indian knowledge texts. Okay, for example, we have Bhagavad Gita, which tries to define yoga as samatvam yoga uchyate. Okay, it says equanimity, a state of equanimity is yoga. And it also defines yoga as karmasu kausalam, okay, which means your expertise in doing the actions is explained as yoga by Bhagavad Gita. And if you look at what is the other one, like the text that we come across is, yeah, even Yoga Vasista. Yoga Vasista also tries to define yoga in terms of mana prasmana upayaha. Something that balances your mind is explained as yoga. So there are various texts that we have in the classical Indian tradition which try to define yoga. But Patanjali Yoga Sutra defines yoga in a particular way. What is that way in which Patanjali Yoga Sutra defines? It says yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. Okay, so just try to understand chitta. Chitta, you understand, right? What is chitta? We usually translate chitta as mind, but it is not mind. We also have a word in our Indian tradition, manas. So you understand manas, right? But we unfortunately reduce this manas to only a particular context. But we all understand what is manas, right? Yoga, chitta. Chitta is manas. Vritti is modifications. Okay, the mind, the manas, always tries to modify itself. Okay, and these modifications are to be stopped. Chitta vritti nirodha. Okay, that these modifications of chitta, manas, are to be stopped, and that is what is explained as yoga by Patanjali Yoga Sutra. Okay. Now I'll try to explain each one of them. How do we? How did Patanjali explain these things to us? Okay, so that we will have a better understanding of it, and in the process we also understand how it is related to us. Okay, so for Patanjali, this the yoga, the way yoga is explained is in terms of it is a spiritual effort to attain perfection through the body, senses, and mind, and through the right discrimination between subject and object. Okay, let's not get into let's not waste our time in understanding these technical things. But what I want you to understand is there is a subject and there is an object, and when you look at the object, okay, objects around you, okay, when you look at the object, then you try to get attached to those objects, and then you try to get a kind of craving for those objects, and these things create a kind of modifications in the mind, and that is how you get something called pleasure, something called pain, etc. Okay, so if you can stop your mental modifications, then your mind would be stable, and you can see the object to be an object, and you can see that you are completely independent of the object. Okay, what do I mean by that? Say for example, somebody may be now it's summer, right? Ice cream. So you may like ice cream, and somebody may not like ice cream, right? So though the object is the same, your disposition towards the object and somebody else's disposition towards the object would be different. So your mental modification would be like liking it and craving for it, enjoying it, and the other person's mental modification would be completely different. What does this tell us? It says that the object is independent, only the individual who is developing these modifications, right? So that is how, whenever you look at people, whenever you look at individuals, see, all of your friends, these days, we often say, don't be judgmental, right? Why do we say that? See, whenever we look at an individual, we tend to be judgmental about the individual. And we say that don't be judgmental about the individual. So what do we mean by that? When you look at the person, you already started thinking about the individual in a particular way and developing different kind of dispositions towards the person, right? So that's not fair. In fact, even in the first meeting, also you may get certain kind of like dispositions against him or her. You may become judgmental about that person in the first meeting itself, right? So such kind of things are to be stopped, okay, so that you can balance yourself in thinking about yourself and also relating yourself to the other individuals. So this aspect is very important. So here, most of the people generally think that only, see, unfortunately we are trained in the Western knowledge system. That's how we tend to understand every concept of Indian tradition only in terms of the Western tradition, Western knowledge system. So that always provides a problem in understanding things in a proper way, appropriate way. Okay. For example, chitta vritti nirodha, I said, right? Chitta is translated as mind in the Western tradition. So if you relate it or if you translate it as only mind, which means then you have to ask the question, where is this mind? And they tend to be realistic in the sense that they will situate either in the brain or somewhere. Okay, but Indian tradition doesn't understand manas, chitta, in that way. So let me briefly explain you what is this chitta. Okay, so that we can understand what are the modifications of chitta and what are the things that are to be stopped and what is the way of stopping those things. The way of stopping those modifications of chitta is Ashtanga Yoga. So before going to Ashtanga Yoga, you have to understand the background of it. Why is this Ashtanga Yoga? So unless you understand this background, going directly into one of the aspects of Ashtanga Yoga and trying to do it is not really going to help us. That's what I want to explain here. So what is this chitta or what is this manas that we are talking about? We often use this word manas. we use chitta, but what is it? Okay, so in Patanjali Yoga Sutra, chitta is understood to be a combination of three things. Combination of three things. Okay, three internal organs. Internal organs are called as antahkarana. Have you heard this word? Antahkarana. Antahkarana. Antaha is inside. Okay, karana is the things that work. Okay, so the activity that happens from inside. Okay, antahkarana. There are three things that happen from inside. Okay, what are those? Depending on the functions that they perform. Okay, for example, if the chitta or the manas is associated with the function of cognition, which means you're looking at an object and you're cognizing it. So when you're cognizing it, okay, when the chitta or the manas is associated with the function of cognition, then it is called manas. Okay, and when the chitta is associated with the function of determination and understanding, which means this is so and so, this is so and so. So if you are getting such kind of an understanding, then it is called buddhi. Buddhi is intellect. Intellect. Okay. And then the third one is ahankara. And after that, you would understand that this is mine, and I am something. Okay. So when you associate yourself with this kind of an attitude, then it is called ahankara. So mano, manas, buddhi, and ahankara. Mano, buddha, ahankara. These three are internal organs, and a combination of all these three is understood to be chitta. And chitta is the storehouse of all the memories and the storehouse of all the past actions. So that is how it is also called smriti. It is based on memory. Okay, so chitta or the manas that we are talking about, at one level it tries to cognize things, and since it cognizes, it is called manas. So it also plays the role of understanding, and when it plays the role of understanding, it is called buddhi or the intellect. And the third level, it tries to create the self feeling, ego, no? And in that particular sense, it is called ahankara. Okay, a combination of all these three is called chitta in Indian tradition. Okay, and this chitta is said to be the first ever evolvent or first evolute of the prakriti. Let me not get into this philosophical side of it, but let me quickly take you. At least I have explained what is chitta. Okay, now if all of us accept that this chitta with all these three aspects is there in each one of us, it also always tries to modify itself. When it looks at the object, the cognition, manas looks at the object, and buddhi tries to understand the object, and then immediately the ahankara says that object is mine. Okay, and it tries to become the object. Okay, and that is how the modifications happen in the self, in the mind. Okay, so if that is the case, there are different kind of modifications that are possible. Okay, sometimes mind can modify into right kind of knowledge. Sometimes it can also create wrong kind of knowledge. Sometimes it can imagine and create a different kind of world for us, and sometimes it can lead to an absence of modifications in the form of sleep, and sometimes it gets into the memory and provides the memory as a modification. So these are the modifications that are possible. Now, friends, I request you to look at your own self and see what are the mental levels that you have. When once we have understood chitta to be a combination of manas, buddhi, and ahankara, each one of us have this manas, buddhi, and ahankara, and we also have different levels of mental life. Okay, we also have different levels of mental life. Okay, it is important to know these different levels of mental life, because these are the ones which help us to control the mind. So for example, in this pandemic time, all of us are like, we are not allowed to go out. Since we are not allowed to go out, since we are asked to be under lockdown, we have an opportunity of looking at our own mental states. And if you try to look at your own mental states, these are the ones which are mentioned in the Yoga Sutra, which is said to be which is said to have written during the first century AD, okay, or so. Okay, so look at the way it is explained long back. That's very important. It says the lowest level of mental life is called kshipta. Kshipta is something that is restless. Sometimes your mind is restless, right? in in whatever stage you are, sometimes your mind is completely very restless. So when we say mind is restless, what do we mean by that? What do we mean by that? See, we say when we say mind is restless when it is tossed like a shuttlecock between the objects of objects that attract the senses. Okay, for example, we all have five sense organs, and these sense organs also have objects of sense organs. For example, eyes can see, and your ears can listen to the wonderful things. Okay, so each of these sense organs have objects of sense organs. uh, when do you say your mind is restless? When your mind is moving, tossed like a shuttlecock between various sense objects. Okay, suddenly something attracts your eyes, and suddenly your mind goes somewhere else, and suddenly you start thinking about the sweet that you had at home. So all these things, your sense objects, your mind is tossed between among sense objects, and this is called restlessness. Okay, when you are not able to stop your mind, and your mind is running after the objects of sense one by one quickly. Okay, and that state is called restlessness, and this is called kshipta in the Patanjali Yoga Sutra. And this is the lowest level of mental life that each one of us have. We all experience this. And above that, we have another mental life which is important, which is called mudha. Mudha is torpid. Okay, here basically it tends towards ignorance, sleep, and lethargy. Torpid is like lethargic. Okay, so you tend to be very lethargic. In the first one, you are active, but your activity is too much that you are not able to stop with one object, and you would be shuttling between the objects of sense organs. And here at this level, it is torpid. No, it is completely like sleep and lethargic kind of an attitude. And the third mental level that we have, we experience these mental levels. Okay, it's not that we are talking about something that happens elsewhere and that happens only to a few people. These are common to all of us. The third level is called vikshipta, which is distracted. Okay, you get focused, but you get distracted quickly. So this third level is very important to know, because in this particular stage, after this particular stage, you will be reaching to the refined stage. And the fourth level is called ekagra. For example, before the examinations, you get that concentration. You sit with the book, okay, and if you know that your exams are after 5 months, you will not get the concentration. But if you understand that your exam is tomorrow, then you tend to concentrate on the books and the studies, right? So ekagra is concentration, and mind becomes concentrated on the object on which you want to pursue engagement with. So this ekagra is the upper level than vikshipta that I have mentioned. And beyond that is the stage which is called nirudha, which restricts the mental modifications completely. Okay. So friends, what I'm trying to stress is each one of us, we have a mental life as well, and we have to understand that we have this interesting levels of mental life, and at the lowest level you always get distracted, you become restless. Okay, because you're not able to understand what is your object of sense objects with which you want to go with. So this is restlessness, and beyond the restlessness you have something called torpidness, no, where it's a absolute lethargy that dominates, and beyond that you have at the third level a distracted one. Though you get focused, you get distracted continuously, and beyond that you get concentration. It is called ekagrata. Okay, all our Indian language have this word ekagrata. So even if you look at your own mother tongue, you understand what is ekagrata, which is concentration. And beyond concentration is nirudha, where the mental modifications are completely stopped. And this stage, this fifth stage of mental level, is the one which Patanjali Yoga Sutra asks us to attain. Okay, that is how it is called yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. Okay, you have to teach that reach that nirudha stage. Chitta vritti modifications are to be nirodha, stopped. Okay, that nirudha stage is to be attained. And for this purpose, Patanjali has given us 8 steps, okay, which are also called Eightfold Path of Discipline, or 8 limbs of yoga. Okay, and what is the aim of these 8 limbs that we are referring to? What is being stated here is controlling of, when you look at yourself, what is it that you think you are comprised of? You are very sure that you have the body, right? None of us will deny that we have body. And we are also very sure that beyond the body, something else is also there in the body, because we see a dead body as well, and we see the difference between the dead body and us. And that is how we assume that beyond the body, we have something else in us. And this something else, most of the times, helps us to do certain things. Okay, that is how we assume that we have mind, right? And beyond the mind, sometimes, at least some of us, if not all of us, some of us assume that there is something called spirit within us. But otherwise, up to mind, all of us agree, right? And along with this mind and body, we have a connecting link between mind and body in the form of senses, sense organs, right? So these three, none of us will deny. We have body, we have sense organs, and we have mind, manas. So these three, we all agree that we all have, right? None of us can deny. Patanjali Yoga Sutra tries to tell us that these three are to be controlled. See, it is not that you have to stop all of them. You have to control them. You have to streamline them. Okay, that is what is very important. So, in order to do that, there are 8 steps that are mentioned. As I said, each one of them have a significant place, and unless you practice one, okay, say for example, this is what people say, my friend. Um, See, if you want to reach your first floor, you have to reach the first floor by climbing the steps. Okay, your purpose is to reach the first floor, but you cannot reach the first floor unless you climb the steps. And it doesn't mean that after climbing the steps, you have to carry your steps on your back, right? You don't have to, right? You reach the second level, and then you reach the third level, you reach the fourth level. But it is not that, well, for reaching the third level or fourth level, the first level steps are useless to you. Okay, they have played their own significant role, and that role is very important, and it is to be stressed. Okay, unless they were there, you cannot reach the fifth level, right? So that is how each one of these steps are very important for us. Okay, the first step is say for example, you are sitting as an individual and you want to prepare for your examinations. Okay, and you are at the first level of first mental level, where there is restlessness. You sit with your books, but your mind takes you to a restaurant, or to a movie theater, or to some other place, right? So it's tossing between various things that you like. So what do you do that? You have to stop it, right? How do you stop that? It says first thing is abstention. Abstention is very important. First step in reaching the Nirudha stage, which means where you completely stop your mental modifications. The first step is restrictions. Okay, abstention from certain restraints, abstention from. So what is it that you want to abstain from? That these are called yamas. Okay, these the 8 limbs are yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana, samadhi. Okay, these are 8 ones. So I would be explaining each one of them one by one. So the first one is yama. Yama is restraint. So you have to restrain from doing certain kind of things. What are those? You have to restrain yourself from injury, injury through thought, word, and action. Okay, manasa, vacha, karmana. So it's not enough if you think that, yeah, I'm not injuring through my actions. Okay, you should not injure through your words as well, and you should not injure through your thoughts as well. No, these are very